Welcome to Career Bits, the official podcast at Charlotte for the University Career Center. Today, I am joined with Jay Skipworth.
Hey, y'all.
Today, Jay and I are going to be talking to you guys about ways you can stay engaged and excited for the new school year, specifically with knowing how your why can be extremely helpful. Now, Jay, what specifically is a why?
When we talk about the why, a lot of people conflate that with like goals and things like that, Madison, and it's related, but it's not the same. A goal is something very specific that you're working on, right? And then your objectives are the steps to get to said goal. The why is the reason behind the goal. So for instance, if I make a goal that I want to be able to run 5 miles by the end of, a month, right? Then that's fine and all, but why am I doing that, right? I may not really get into it or stay engaged with it because it rains and right now it's really hot and I may not enjoy that activity, right? So I don't go with it. But if I say I'm going to learn and get myself ready to run 5 miles by the end of the month because I want to get in better shape and I'm training for a 10K that's coming up and that's just under the time or the distance for it, that's the why. And so for college students in particular, when we talk about the why, it generally in the Career Center, we're trying to get you to relate that to why you're doing what you're doing, why you're majoring in what you're majoring in, why you're looking for experience in the areas you are, because knowing that can keep you motivated when you're in the middle of the semester. There's 100 things due at once, all that kind of stuff. That's why it's important to think about that. And so we talk a lot and you hear a lot, particularly in your orientation courses and from other faculty and stuff about being a good goal setter. And that is certainly important. But if you don't understand your why behind it, the goals can kind of fall on and off the table willy-nilly. So that's why is important.
Yeah, I think there's no way for you to have a goal if you don't know why you want to have that goal. And in order for you to be able to achieve that goal, you have to achieve those key points, which I believe are the whys. Now, what are the key elements to understanding a why and how that why can help you get to that goal? Because everyone can put whys down and they might not be able to achieve it, but how is that okay for it to not be able to hit that why specifically?
Well, the first thing to think about when you're trying to determine what your why is really to have the good conversation with yourself is like, where do I want this to lead me? And sometimes just start with the end in mind. That's my recommendation, and sort of reverse engineer yourself from there. So start with like, I want to get to this point because, using my analogy earlier, I want to be able to run this race. So to do that, I'm going to have to build up time, et cetera, right? For a student, it might be, I really want to broaden my skill set, or I want to really make the most of my semester, or I want to learn how to speak better in public, or, different things like that. And all of those are important. So it's understanding why that matters to you. So what's the goal? In other words, what's the end result of it? That's the first thing to start. The reasons whys fall apart is because they're not your why. They may be your parents' why, or maybe your roommate's why, or your friend's why, or whatever. And it's important to just go through that self-talk with yourself and realize you don't have to do it alone either. Not only do you have the career coaches here in the Career Center, but you've got counseling resources on campus, you've got advisors, faculty members you can talk to, or sometimes just your classmates. We talk all the time about like build your own study group. Sometimes you build your own support group too in class, like keep each other motivated, stuff like that. So the thing to start with is, what am I trying to get to? What is my end? And then how am I going to keep myself motivated along the way? So it belongs in 2 spaces. One, it starts with you in your own head as to what you're wanting to get out of whatever the activity is, or the semester or time frame. And then the other part of it is being able to say, what do I need to get myself there? And that's in terms of all the resources, not only the technology or knowledge base or time, but people as well.
And that goes into my follow-up question. And my question for you was, how can students be engaged in our specific community here at UNCC or UNC Charlotte, because we're no longer UNCC, we're now Charlotte. Mm-hmm. And how can we grow their why? How can we help them out with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. One thing that we recommend, particularly with if you're a freshman or first transfer in student, come by, specifically the Career Center, come by the Career Center and just get a reset of here's where I'm going and does this make sense? Talk to one of our coaches. You may take one of our assessments, or you may just be able to chat with somebody through it and just say, okay, like this is where I want to get to. Am I planning the right way? And then again, ask yourself like, okay, I want to ultimately work in this area. So what's my best path there? And what you'll find is there are a lot of different paths. to places. It's finding what's going to be most successful for you. The other thing you can do is surround yourself with the kind of people who are going to help you stay on track. They don't even have to be people in the same major or same discipline. They can just be people that you can lean on, that are going to be like, hey, it's going to be all right. And you when you want to blow studying off one night and they're like, no, just spend a couple more hours on it and then we'll go out, or whatever.
Yes.
Have that friend in your life. And if you realize that that's important, be that friend to somebody else too.
Yes.
That really helps. So those are just some things you can do. The other thing is, get involved, but don't get over involved. And there's a fine line with that. Everybody's got their own time management, abilities. You have to figure that out for yourself. And honestly, the only way to figure it out is to probably, try a lot of different stuff, but get involved in things that are going to either enhance your ability to build to where you want to get to, or they're a good release for you so that you can deal with all the other things that are going on at the same time.
Now, Jay, a question for you is, what is your goal for this semester? And then what is your long-time goal for this year?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, my big goal for this semester, Madison, is to really work on finding more unique ways for our employers to engage with our students. So our employers post jobs, they come to fairs, they do all that kind of stuff, but we're really trying to lace more employers into our meetup schedule to work with our counselors so that you're hearing directly from industry professionals about best way to, approach this, do a resume, things like that. And then also finding new ways for them to get involved and to provide experiences for students. So my short-term goal is to keep pressing forward with some of the new initiatives we got with employer engagement. And then over the year, the bigger overarching goal is to broaden the kind of experiences we're going to be offering. If you crawled around on our website at all, you've probably seen the little section that says Niner XP, and you're wondering what the heck is that? And it's just all the different ways you can gain experiences. And we'll certainly talk about that more on Career Bits in the future. But one of the things we're looking for are things besides the traditional co-op and internship ways that you can build experiences. And so those are my big goals for the year, is to get into that. Why am I doing all that? Because I think it's vastly important that you all as students have access to as many ways as you can to build your skill set, build your social capital for your goals. And our job here is to provide that buffet, that smorgasbord of stuff, and let you pick what is going to make most sense for you.
Yes. And so I started off this school year with one of my main goals being getting a job on campus. And as we can see here, I have achieved that goal. And my why for that goal was to be able to get into the community a little bit more faster than the more realistic way of making friends. Everyone on campus now hears my voice. If they are tuning in, as they should, they hear my voice. So I kind of feel like I'm a part of the whole entire community. I can be kind of that relaxation for everyone. But my long-term goal is to make it through the school year with just a positive and open mindset, especially in the mental health, just because of COVID. My why for that was because senior year was kind of a little sad and a little turmoil because COVID really hit us.
Yeah.
And so my goal is just to have just a positive year, no matter how that happens, virtual, in person. That's just my goal. So do we have any students that you've talked to throughout this past week that have told us their goals and why?
I actually have. I've talked to 4 different students, and we're going to pop their voices in here for you as well. You'll still just look at me and Madison if you're watching on YouTube, but you'll get to hear what they have to say about their goals for the year. And they range from, all over the gamut. We've even got a grad student in there as well. So let's hear what they have to say.
My name is Nandini. I'm a senior graduating this December. I'm a double major in business analytics and management information systems. My why this semester, number one, is to finish the semester strong. I have a lot of upper level classes, so I do want to make sure I give my best and get the most out of them. And then my second goal is to make sure I'm developing my technical competencies just so I'm ready for the full-time jobs that I have after graduation.
Hello, my name is Michael. I am a senior studying finance, and I would say that some of the goals I have would be to finish my semester in school as strongly as possible and to get every opportunity and ounce I can out of university now that I'm graduating. My why would be that I strongly believe that habits are what make a person, and how you do one thing is usually how you end up doing everything. I like to try and be just the person who I am everywhere and at all times. So that follows me throughout school and throughout my life. So
My name is Jabez. I'm studying computer engineering, and my goal for this semester is just to get more involved because I feel like it's important for your career and for your college experience to experience as much as you can.
My name is Nate. I'm a grad student studying Spanish language, literature, and culture studies, and my goal for this semester is to improve my public speaking because I know it's an important skill to have in life, and it's one of the things that I struggle with, and it's very important that we're able to articulate how we feel about certain topics in front of a multitude of people.
Madison, we heard from some other students there and some of the goals that they have this semester. And what I was impressed with, each of them followed it up with, and here's why that's important to me. And so I want to let people know, like, we're talking about this big ethereal concept, but it's really not that complicated, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually really touched by the student that talked about public speaking because that was one of my goals that I had throughout high school, and bringing that into college, I think is a good thing. I think having long-term goals, not just for the year, but for your education purposes, bringing that high school into college, or even for like lifelong goals of like owning a business, being a doctor.
Yeah, I mean, you come to school for a lot of things, right? And part of it is knowledge, but the other part of it is building the skills, the social capital, the networking opportunities and all that to then apply it somewhere else, whether that's grad school, world of work, whatever your plans are. It's important to sort of see the whole picture of it as well. And that's why we start with this subject matter, because we got a week under our belt in the semester. We've walked by 1,000 tables, all the free t-shirts, all that cool stuff. We've signed up for the 9 Career Challenge, hopefully. And a lot of you have, based on the numbers. And so keep checking on that. But beyond that, it's now you're getting into the grind of the semester. Okay, here's my class schedule. Here's where I'm going to be here. And then flexing around things that happen. Whether professor decides to cancel the class the last second, you're like, oh, okay, now I got to change and do this. Those are parts of life and living through it. And again, just sort of keeping yourself grounded and centered in why am I doing this and where am I trying to get to can help you quite a bit. It helps all of us to do that. And just so you know, like, not only do students do this, but faculty, staff, I mean, the Career Center, we had a whole day where we were meeting together right before the semester started. And we always start the fall with the same thing, is just talking about our why. And, our why is really simple. It's prepare and connect. That's what we do for all the people that we work with. And recentering that for us at the beginning of every year is our director's way of just reminding us what we're doing, what's the purpose of it. And we always start it from the conversation again of, remember where we're trying to get to, where we're trying to get people to go. And so we want to try to pass that along to you all as well, because yes, you need to learn everything in your classes. You need to gain that knowledge, but you got to build the other stuff up too. And you do that through being intentional about it. And so intentionally discovering your why is what's important.
And you mentioned a little earlier in the show that finding your person to back you up on your goals and why is extremely important. So I think the main thing that these students should get out of this podcast today is maybe talk to your person or a person that you think can help you with your goal and tell them, hey, my goal is this, help me achieve that. How can I help you achieve yours? And I think that's an amazing way for students to also make new friends and new connections on campus, is asking what your goal is, what your why is, and how I can help you achieve that and how you can help me achieve mine.
Absolutely. Madison, what you're talking about is social capital. And that is a concept we're going to be talking a lot about in the Career Center, and we'll talk about it here on some future career bits. But social capital is everything that involves the outgrowth of networking and knowledge and learning how to work with each other. And you gave a great example there of not only ask someone else to sort of check you on where you are, but say, what can I do to help you? Too. That's a great way to introduce yourself to new people. It's a great way to meet new folks and to help each other work through things, because no one works and lives in a vacuum, particularly in our world today. And it's not even built to do that anymore. I mean, really the only thing you ever have to do totally by yourself is your test. And when you get in your upper level classes, you do a lot of group stuff together anyway.
Yes.
So, and they frown on group work on a test for reasons, but we joke about that. But I mean, truthfully, you do work with each other on everything. And you may not have thought about it a lot, but the people you're in classes with now, they're going to be your colleagues when you get older. When you get old like me, I still keep up with people that I went to class with, went to college with all those years ago, because they're in fields that it's important for me to stay in touch with. And so, yeah, I think you're right on. Find your person and also be somebody's person, whether it's the same or not.
Now, I asked you what your personal goals and your whys were. Now, what is a goal you have for this podcast now that I am taking over as the main host?
To not have to edit it anymore. Anybody who's ever worked in audio production knows what that looks like, video production too. But no, really, the truth was, like I said in the last show when we introduced you, is the shows that were always most popular were ones where we had a lot of student voices. And my thought was we should have a consistent student voice and then have that person bring in other student voices. So to be fair, it's your idea to have the other students in and record clips and things like that. So if you see Madison running around campus with a microphone, do not be afraid. She's probably got gift cards to give out, and she is just looking to get your feedback, because what I want Career Bits to become is not only a marketing piece for the Career Center, and that's what it is, but also a voice that answers questions for students. And so if you've got feedback, you've got questions, things you want to know, you can feed them to Madison. You can feed us to, here at the Career Center. You can send them to career@uncc.edu. If you say, hey, I've got a Career Bits question, throw it on there and we'll try to answer it on the show. And, if we get enough of them are in the same pile, you're going to, build the content. But my big goal is to have somebody else who, with the student's point of view and voice, lead this show, and then bring on interesting other voices around campus that students need to know about.
Yes, and you mentioned if people see me on campus with my little microphone and possibly a camera for some interviews, that I mentioned I might have gift cards. And that's something I want to bring up, because one of my goals is making this podcast known on campus. I think it's an extremely useful resource, not just for the Career Center, I think just for the university in general. We talk about so many other things that don't even have to do with the Career Center, but can tie into that. So if you see me, there's going to be a ton of resources that I possibly could have for you that could help you out. And hopefully we'll have some merch soon. So hopefully we can see people walking around with merch.
Yep, that's our next goal, is to try to design some cool stuff so we can brand across as we go. But excited to again kick off the semester. It's so neat to see everybody back on campus and all the energy. Just remind everybody, stay safe, be smart, and realize you got a lot of great resources out there. Career Center, chief among them, obviously, but make sure you're utilizing your resources. And if you don't know who to ask for what, you can always come by here, 150 Atkins in the Career Center, and we'll point you in the right direction. We do a lot of direction given this time of year anyway.
Well, thank you, Jay, for joining us on this podcast today, talking about how students can stay engaged and excited. And make sure for everyone who's listening to follow us on our social medias at CLT, stands for Charlotte, Career Center. We love posting on Instagram. Maybe I can take over the stories one day. Everyone can get to learn more about me. Find this podcast on all of our platforms that all podcasts are on, Spotify, Apple Music, and also on YouTube, so you can see our pretty lovely faces for this podcast.